My name is Layla. I'm 38 years old. I live with my husband Zeke and our 3 daughters. I've been estranged from my family for about 20 years now. I had parents and an older sister named Melissa. From the outside, we looked like a close-knit family. But the truth is, I was the one who felt isolated. I've always been shy and introverted, and I'm not particularly striking in appearance. I struggled to stand out and had only a few friends during my school years. On the other hand, my sister was outgoing and surrounded by friends thanks to her good looks. My parents seemed to be proud of her. They favored her over me in many ways. For instance, when we were shopping for hair accessories, I said, "I want the pink one." But Melissa threw a fit, saying, "I want the pink one too. It looks better on me than on Layla." My parents told me to give in, saying, "Let your sister have it. We'll buy you the blue one." Melissa always got new stuff while I got her hand-me-downs. Seeing my parents' favoritism, Melissa started treating me coldly. She even told me not to talk to her at school because she didn't want people to know I was her sister. That hurt. As I got older, I felt the disparity between us more and more. I decided that once I graduated high school, I would leave home for good. Melissa went to an expensive private college, and my parents struggled to pay her tuition. They told me, "We can't afford to send you to college. You'll have to figure out yourself." I had no plans to go to college, so I told them I would move out and find a job after high school. They didn't seem to care. In fact, they even asked me to send them money once I was settled. I finally snapped. "After all these years of favoring Melissa, now you're asking me for money? I'm never coming back." My dad yelled at me. "After all we've done for you, how dare you talk back? You're dead to us." I left home right after graduating high school, taking only a few belongings. I had only a small amount of money saved up from my part-time job. I felt overwhelmed, but I was determined to never go back. I managed to build a life for myself in a new place. The company that hired me right after high school didn't pay much, but the people were kind and supportive. I felt fulfilled every day. The building where I worked contracted with a cleaning service. And that's how I met my husband, Zeke. At first, we just exchanged greetings. But over time, we started making small talk, and one day he asked me out for dinner. I had always been drawn to his warm smile and diligent work ethic. I accepted his invitation without hesitation, and we went out several times after that. He always listened to me with a smile, and I found myself more and more attracted to him. After our 3rd dinner together, he confessed his feelings, and we started dating. My relationship with Zeke was going well, and on our 3rd anniversary, we decided to get married. I thought maybe it was time for a family meeting, even though I wasn't thrilled about it. So I contacted my parents for the first time in years. Hearing their voices again brought back some memories. I told them about my upcoming wedding. "We only have one daughter, so what if you're getting married?" But my dad's response was shocking. I was speechless and hung up the phone, tears streaming down my face. Even my wedding news was met with such indifference from my own parents. Zeke saw me crying and came over, comforting me with a gentle touch on my back. I told him about the phone call and he looked sad. "Don't worry, Layla. You have me now, and my parents are thrilled you're joining our family." He hugged me tightly. That's right, I'm not alone anymore. I decided to focus on the positive and enjoy my life going forward. My in-laws were incredibly kind, much warmer than my own family. A couple of years later, our first daughter was born, and we were living fulfilling lives. One day, years after cutting ties with my family, I received a call. It was from my dad. I hesitated but answered, thinking it might be urgent. He sounded unusually cheerful. "Hey Layla, how have you been?" I told him I was doing well and that I had a daughter. "Never mind that. Your sister is getting married." I was shocked that my news about having a grandchild was dismissed so easily, but I kept my composure. "That's great news. Congratulations." My dad seems pleased. "She's marrying a wonderful man, a businessman who owns several companies." Then came the unexpected invitation. "There's a wedding in 2 months. You should attend." I couldn't believe how insensitive he was. When I got married, the only people who celebrated with us were Zeke's family. I couldn't even invite my own family. "Why should I attend my sister's wedding when you couldn't even offer me a single congratulatory word on mine?" My dad replied, annoyed. "It would be embarrassing if her in-laws thought she had an uncouth sister who couldn't attend her own wedding. Make sure you come." He quickly told me the venue and date, then hung up. I was far from convinced, but felt somewhat obligated to attend. The wedding was scheduled at a hotel. Since our daughter was still young, I decided to go alone, leaving her in Zeke's care. I had some time to kill before the meet and greet my dad had told me about, so I was thinking of hanging out at the hotel cafe. That's when I saw a familiar woman walking from the back of the lobby. Yes, it was my sister. "Layla, what are you doing here?" She seemed surprised to see me. "Congratulations on your wedding. Dad told me to come." Her eyebrows furrowed. "I told him not to invite you. Why would Dad do something like that?" Apparently, my dad had invited me to keep up appearances. "I didn't send you an invitation, Layla. I haven't even arranged a seat for you." I felt sad again, being treated this way after making the effort to come. If I'm not invited, I'll go home. I left my daughter with my husband to be here. Please explain to Dad. As I was about to leave, my sister seemed to remember something. "By the way, Layla, you're married too, right? What does your husband do?" When I told her he was in the cleaning business, she scoffed. "Cleaning? That sounds dirty. Your house must stink like garbage. How can you stand such a man?" I lost my temper. "Stop insulting my husband's job. I'm very happy with my life. I don't want you or Dad interfering anymore. Never contact me again." She sneered at me. "I wouldn't want to be family with someone who smells like garbage. We're strangers now and will remain so. I won't bother contacting a stranger." I stormed out of the hotel, and only then did I notice my makeup was ruined by tears. I had traveled 2 hours to the venue, only to leave within 30 minutes. When I got home, my husband and daughter greeted me with smiles, and I broke down again. Seeing my face, my husband seemed to understand. "You're home, Layla. This is where you belong," he said, hugging me. Our young daughter smiled at me, and their warmth made me cry out loud. I hugged them back. I decided to forget about my dad, mom, and sister. My family is right here. That thought helped me return to my regular life. 10 years passed and I gave birth to 2 more daughters, making me a mom of 3. I had left my job after my first daughter was born, but returned to work at the same cleaning company as my husband when things settled down. One day, while doing a big year-end cleaning at the office, I came up with an idea for a cleaning tool. I casually mentioned it to my husband at home, and he loved it. The idea quickly spread within the company, and they decided to turn it into a product. I was actively involved in the project, and the cleaning tool, packed with insights from a homemaker's perspective, was a big hit. It became a hot topic online and in magazines, and for a while we couldn't keep up with the demand. The business grew so much that we decided to create a subsidiary for the manufacturing and sales of cleaning products. And guess what? I was chosen as the CEO of the new company. With strong support from everyone, the company has grown into a $10 million business. I'm busy with work, and sometimes household chores take a back seat. But my husband and daughter support me, and we're living a busy yet happy life. However, something happened that would change all of this. The other day, a TV segment featuring me aired. It was a 20-minute segment on a lifestyle show covering my background and how I came up with my product. Thanks to that, inquiries increased, and I was busier than ever. One day I arrived at the office and was handed a note with a callback number. Someone had tried to reach me. I thought it might be another interview request, but when I looked at the number, my breath caught. It was my sister. I had blocked her and my parents' numbers after the wedding fiasco. She must have called the office. Seeing my success on TV, she chose this moment to reach out. I was wary. I debated calling her back, but decided to do so to avoid further disruptions at work. "Layla, long time no see." Annoyed by her casual greeting, I asked what she wanted. "You seem to be making good money now. How about helping us out a bit?" I was even more irritated. Why would I do that now? She retorted, "Don't act so high and mighty just because you're successful. My husband can make way more money than you if he had the capital, so give us some investment money." There's no reason for me to invest in your husband's business. Don't call me again. I hung up furious. The call drained me emotionally, bringing back unpleasant memories. Just as I was trying to refocus on work, another call came in. This time, it was Dad. "Why won't you help your sister financially? She's your only sister," he yelled as soon as I picked up. "Have you forgotten what happened at the wedding? After all that, you expect?" He cut me off. "Stop bringing up the past. That's why you're so gloomy." I was dumbfounded by his audacity. "My family consists of my loving husband and daughters. You're not my family anymore. Goodbye." I hung up, ignoring his protests. I thought that was the end of it, but I was wrong. My parents and sister showed up at my office. The receptionist was flustered as she came to get me. "Showing up at my workplace is beyond inappropriate. Leave." But Dad said, "Come on, we're family. Let's continue our conversation from the other day." Not wanting to cause a scene at work, I contacted my husband and we decided to meet them at home. The tension was palpable as both families gathered. "I hate to be blunt, but you're here to ask for money, right? I don't have a single dollar for you." I took the lead. They laughed as if I was a joke. "We're your blood relatives, Layla. If you're making money, we have a right to some of it," my sister said, and her husband nodded. "With some financial help, I can run a business much more successfully than you." My brother-in-law spoke down to us. His rudeness on our first meeting confirmed he was cut from the same cloth as my sister and parents. "The only connection I have with you is blood. I have no reason to help someone who's essentially a stranger to me. I tried to keep my voice steady, but anger made it quiver. Then let's stop being strangers from today. We'll be family again, my sister said almost mockingly. Just as I was about to retort, my husband gently placed his hand on my shoulder and stood beside me. Layla is already part of our family. We don't need you to be happy. In fact, aren't you the ones who need us? He spoke calmly but firmly, looking straight at my parents and sister. Shut up! You're just a janitor, right? Surrounded by garbage all day, and you dare to act superior? My husband is a businessman, not like you. My sister yelled, her face red. My husband replied, Don't belittle janitorial work. It's an honorable job that keeps our community clean. Zeke is the CEO of the parent company of my business, I added. My sister screamed in surprise. What? Layla, you never mentioned. I thought he was just a janitor. Seeing the shocked faces of my parents and sister, I couldn't help but laugh. He wasn't the CEO when we got married. It was originally his father's company. Their faces turned sour. My husband continued, And if your husband is such a great businessman, he shouldn't need our financial help. My sister and her husband tried to respond, but were at a loss for words. I took a deep breath and said, This is the last time we'll talk. We're fine being strangers. If you make a scene, I'll call the police. They glared at me, but my husband stepped in front of me and stared back. They left without another word. Later, my husband shared some surprising news. His company had business dealings with my brother-in-law's company. He decided to cut all ties. My brother-in-law came to apologize, but my husband didn't accept it. It seems that brother-in-law's company, which lost its business partners, was unable to survive and went bankrupt. Struggling with massive debt, my sister and her husband eventually divorced. Moreover, my dad, who had been receiving financial help from them, had prematurely retired without consulting anyone. Now he couldn't find a job due to his age. My parents' marriage was also on the rocks. My sister, now divorced and back at our parents' home, was barely making ends meet with a part-time factory job. As for me, my work is going well, and my family is happy. We're planning a long family vacation with my in-laws. I'm grateful for the happiness I have and plan to cherish every day.